I guess the first thing that we need to do is just go through some of the common questions that customers are asking us so that they're very clear about what it is going forward with TSD. Obviously, the very first hurdle of using the software is to understand why we set up projects. So the first question is what advantage? And I'll just make that disappear. So what is the advantage that TSD in setting up a project does? Basically, I'll go through points by point, but I'll just ask the questions as I go. So what data am I required to add as I create a TSD project? When I select the templates in the project creation, where are they filed? So we want to know where they're kept. What is field mapping and what field mapping is used for? Can I create my own TSD templates? And that's always a regular question, because yes, and I'll show you how to do that. Confusing terminology. Are templates and sheet templates, are they the same? We'll certainly show you what that is. Can I change my templates after I set them up in the project creation process? And yes, you can. We'll certainly show you how that's done. And if I work alone, how should my project be set up? So we'll show you how an individual will set up their project. And obviously question 9, if you're working in a team environment, how that should be set up in a project. Okay. So obviously the next question, first question on the list, let's just answer that one. So the advantage of setting up a project gives these advantages. Okay, so automated filing requires the project number in the area WBS. We'll get into area and WBS settings at the end for question 9 and 8. When I log into a project, the data helps me find the project. Rather than searching through files trying to find things or folders, we have the process of being able to log into a project. When going into the locking phase, which is a phase in TSD where we consolidate plates and we update drawings from where the library drawings were inserted in a project, certain fields are completely filled in, and they come from setting up the project, and the actual templates get swapped out. So we need to set those templates up so that we know what templates we've got on the system. Okay. Whoops, I just went back too far there. So second point, what data am I required to add as I create a TSD project? Project details, there's 4 project details that have to be set up as fields, and there's 1 revision, which is called a main revision, and the complete revision table from our templates. So you need to copy those across so that that information is transferred. Okay, I'll show you all this, so don't fret. Third question, when you select the templates in the project creation process, where are they filed? So obviously you want to know where these files are kept. And there are 4 templates, and what they are used for is obviously crucial. Field mapping is where we want to link data from the TSD environment. And so data gets placed into the database via your project setup, and then that information goes into your drawing sheets. That way you can get consistency across all your drawing sheets. That's why we set up the project information at the beginning. Now, can you create your own TSD templates? Absolutely, and you can even have your own drawing fields inside those templates. So you're not limited to just using our template fields. You can use your own fields in the custom properties. Of course, you still have to have the 4 project line fields and a main revision and the revision fields completely from our templates so that you can work with our database and our revision control processes. There is some confusing terminology on templates and sheet templates. When we say drawing templates, we mean TSD drawing templates, but in actual fact they are SolidWorks sheet templates. Okay, the drawing templates that we set up and use are SLD DRT files, which are sheet templates. So just be careful with that and don't get confused. We pretty much swap out the title block, and then at a later stage we can change the drafting standard and all sorts of things like that in the drawing sheet. So we're not limited to being stuck with a drafting standard. And that's what SolidWorks drawing templates will provide you. We prefer the sheet templates. It just makes it easier for the data to change and makes it more flexible for us. Okay, can I change the templates after I've set them up? Yes, you can, absolutely. If you create a new drawing and then select the template and make that the current template within it, then you can change the template itself, which is the drawing sheet template, and then you can save over the top of the existing one as long as you don't remove the crucial custom property fields associated to TSD. So if you just want to, say for instance, a customer says, I want to put my logo on there, and it happens after you've created your project, you can certainly go in, add the logo, and then save it. Okay, now if you work alone, how should the project be set up? Okay, well there's definitely several ways of setting up projects. The one easy basic way is to use a default project area and log into that. That's basic, so when you set it up, that's the assembly that you work in. That's for a single person working, that's the best way to do it. Now if you're going to work in a team environment on large projects, you want to set it up so that multiple people can work on the same project without interfering with each other. So a team environment has to be set up, and that means that we're using a project assembly, and area assemblies sit inside the project assembly, and our lead design draftsman or lead drafty on the project looks after the interfaces at the project level, and everyone else that's working on the project can work in area assemblies at a lower level. Now we restrict the number of level of assemblies in a project primarily because you can end up with as many as you like. I've not seen any restriction on how many assemblies you want. However, that will it'll decrease your performance. So basically, if you want to add another assembly above the project assembly, you can, but just be wary that that particular assembly may end up slowing things down for you. We have 4 assembly levels in TSD, so that means that we've got a 4 that we work with on a regular basis, and it's been tested and proven to make sure that we don't interfere with performance or even just decrease it as much. So we try and aim for the least amount of assemblies. So with that, obviously we have driving sketches inside of our assemblies. I will show you a little bit about that, but driving sketches we'll certainly cover in the next education demonstration. Okay, but this one's more about setting up your project and then having a look at how the project is functional while you're working. So that covers the 9 questions. Now I'm just going to go through a couple of these questions, so I'll go back to, say, let's have a look at the beginning here. Okay. There is a process in TSD where we lock, and I will show you a little bit of that so you can see how that works. I'm just going to go through setting up a project and show you how the information in the project comes out at the end, because it's really important that at the beginning of a project you get that information right, but we also have other processes at the end that can override this information if you somehow get it wrong. No big deal. So we built the flexibility into the software. Okay, so I'm just going to go through setting up a project, and then what we'll do is we'll go through answering these questions so that you can see them one by one. I'll just close that off and fire up SolidWorks. Now, I've not had any questions at this stage. Has anybody got any questions that they would like to ask about some of those questions that I've just gone through? Please chat. Use the chat and just let me know. I can unmute you all, but I'll get a lot of feedback. Just raise your hand and let me know. No? Okay. Excellent. Okay, so let's set up a new project. So this is the startup wizard that comes with TSD. Now in here I can see what projects are being used, and I can see which ones I can start working with. Okay. Now if I go over to create, I can start with the project creation process. So over on the left hand side you can see basically what happens. Now GoToMeeting sometimes plays up with my image, and you can see over here my buttons on my toolbar have disappeared. Okay, so out of my list I noticed that 0005 wasn't available, and basically when you fill this information in, you want to make sure that the information is going to be correct at the beginning. You can come back and change it if need be, no big deal, but it's good because everyone then is working with the same project information throughout any area that they may be working on. So in here just put in client 1, and we'll put in say project description 1, and then I'll usually copy it, but anyway, I'll just type that one. So that's project location 1. And the reason I'm doing this is because when I lock this, you will see, when I lock a member, you'll see this information come through and where it sits in the tree. Now, the default WBS code is basically the singularity person, the one that wants to work by himself, and that information, if you put it in here, it'll be the very first project that gets created so that they can work in there in that area. Now, inside a project, there are different areas, as I said before, for multi-user environment, but if you're a singular person, you only want one area. Give it a name so that you know what you're looking at. So, WBS Area 1. In multi-user projects, Area AA, being the global area, means that throughout the whole project, this is where you might want to stick things that run from one area to the other. Now, the default WBS code is something that gets set up at the beginning of the project, and you pretty much don't want to change that. You want to keep it where it is. The 2-digit code that you see there, the AA, is a 26 by 26 matrix. Imagine an Excel spreadsheet, A to Z on the vertical side, A to Z across the top. Basically, you're using, say, AA in the cell between the two, from vertical left, from the top. In the middle, you're putting in WBS Area 1 as the description for that cell. Okay, that's basically what it means. However, you can call it whatever you like. You can go A, B, A, C, A, D, A, Z right through and call whatever the information that's in there, whatever you like. This is the WBS system. This is an area. WBS stands for Work Breakdown Structure. Okay, big mining projects have a WBS system. Okay, the reason I say that is because I come from a mining background, and I've used big mining projects down to the smallest little awning, and I've created areas for little things like that. Okay, now the vault location. You want to choose a location what's not going to move. Okay, it has to stay where it is. We haven't built any functionality in there for you to move your project. However, the next version of TSD allows you to archive your project and then unarchive it, so then you're able to move it. This version, once you pick your vault location, that's it. There's no moving it, because if you move it, all the links in the database will break. It's linked to the actual location of where the project's set up. So very important to know that. If you move the project, your database will break and you'll find things won't work for you. Very important. Now, some customers have descriptions for their projects, and then they put in the TSD project in that. Some customers just use the project numbers. It's up to you and how you want to nest this information. I pretty much just stick everything in the same folder, so I know where all my projects are kept. So if I go browse, and in here I go down into where, no, I don't want that one, I want computer. And this is where I store it. So I've got 2014, and then in there I've got TSD projects, and my TSD 2014 projects are in there. So now I click OK. That's where I'm going to put my project. Now, mapping. Okay, so mapping is where TSD has a field inside its database, and the drawing template has a field. And what we need to do is we need to match them so that that information can get transferred out of the database onto the drawing sheet. It's critical that you get them so that the names are the same. Very important that you do that. There are, as I said, 5 that are crucial, and I went through that in the slideshow. So if I go back over to the PowerPoint, come down, that's them there. So we've got line 1, title, 2, 3, 4, main revision. Okay. For revision control, you're going to need the revision table. So we'll look at that in a moment so that you can see how that works. Now, you can grab a previous project pretty much just by going in and grabbing a project and going load. Okay. What that means is if I've already used a template to create that project, it's going to copy the template, the drawing template, and the mapping information is already there. And the template location is where it grabs it from the first time. It's not where it comes from out of the project. So you'll see that in the GA that I've selected here, as there are 4 templates, you've got a GA, you've got a welded member, and you have a section drawing or a member drawing and a plate drawing. So that's the 4 drawing templates that we need to establish for our project. So in here we've got A1 GA template, and it's coming from the Steel Detailer's installation location, which is where we keep our templates for our users to start off or go through our tutorials and our training. Some will say, well, why don't you put it in a common folder, put it somewhere else? Well, if we keep it in the same location, then everyone knows where it is. I'm open to suggestions. I think the best place for it is in that installation location, because then we can update it if we need to, and it's in the same place every time. Now, basically, you can see how I clicked the previous project and hit load. If I go down into one here, which is the welded member, okay, this is the weldment drawing template and fields, I can actually browse to the location where I'm going to find my templates. So in mine, I've already set up a favorites area where I can go straight to my Steel Detailer folder where the installation is, and then I've got my drawing templates. The quickest thing to do is actually just copy this up the top so that you can reuse the directory path for the next template, because you're going to keep coming back here. Now, when you set up your templates and you create your own templates, you can store them somewhere else. They don't have to be in this folder. Okay, you can set them up in a folder on your server so they get backed up if they change. Basically, this is where TSD's templates are kept. So from the basic process, you could start here, and that's how most of our trialers set themselves up. So the very first one we need to grab is the GA. Our GAs are A1 drawing sheets. You can set up any drawing sheet you like. At the end of the day, A1 is common to most general arrangement marking plan drawings in Australia. Okay, so I'm just going to grab that. When I grab that and bring that in, it's grab the 5 fields that we need, and if we click on the line 1 title, and look at this, it hasn't brought it in because that should have brought in this. Sorry, this is a development PC and it's under testing. So that should actually bring in a list here of all the tutorials, all the fields within the template. For some particular reason, I don't know why that hasn't happened. Whoops. I didn't even copy that path. How good is that for a demonstration? So let's go back to the drawing templates. Yep, that one there. And I'll copy this path up the top. Click open. And there we go. Something happened on the way to Kansas in the process. Anyway, line 1 title and line 1 title, we just click update. And that links the two. So now it means that the TSD field that's in the database is now linked to the drawing template field. So line 2, update. Line 3, and then line 3, and then update. Once you set this up, like I said before, and you save it, it means that that particular template setting will always reside there, and you can keep going back to it if you need to. Now, if you're a single fabrication shop or a single detailer and your client is happy for you to just use your drawings, then this is a simple process for you to set up your templates off to the side and then reuse them over and over again. So that process is pretty much how you set up your template field mapping. I'm going to simply just go through for the next lot and grab a project that I've already set up. As you can see, it already brings all that information in, and it's getting the actual sheet template that I need. So that was for the member or the section drawing, then the plate drawing. So we need to load that in. Now, TSD uses the general arrangement for general arrangement drawings A1, and it uses A3s for welded member and member section drawings, and then A4 for plate drawings. I'll show you why in a moment. Now, this is a new update that we've added into the product, which will be released tomorrow. We've got global settings for metric project or for an imperial project, and if you want to use flat bars in your BOM. Okay, I usually tick that on because we're in Australia, we use flat bars. And then I hit create project. So now my project is created at the basic level. What that means is the data's gone into the database. I'm just going to show you the database. This is SQL. Okay, if none of you are familiar with SQL, you're going to have to be educated eventually about SQL because SQL databases are used for TSD. We'll show you how to use it to a basic level. So in here, I'm just going to show you how the database is set up. So here's the tables that TSD uses, and in there we've got projects, and I can actually go in, and if you really wanted to and you're really good at using SQL, you can go in here and change the information about your project. So there's the project that went in. These are the fields that got created for the project information. We have a vault location here where it finds the location of where the project is. You can see our default information. And then off to the right here we've got where our templates are stored. So in that process of us selecting the templates, it puts them in that location. So you'll see that basically when you select the location of where the vault is, it'll create the project number for you automatically over here, and then the templates folder. So if we open that up where I've just created that, 214 TSD projects 005, so there's the templates folder, and they're the templates that I just selected. So it's copied the templates that I've used and placed them in there, into that templates location. These templates are now part of your project. They're in the project area, and you'll be using them. So now you can see how the database works, how it stores that information. Okay, there is also a little bit more information associated to the field mapping. There's another table in here for field mapping that you will you'll notice. I suggest not to go in there and have a look unless you become experienced and you've played with it, because this can be detrimental to how it can affect your projects. Just thought I'd show you how that sits in the background, in the back end. Okay, now you'll notice that through this process there's nothing in the project folder because we haven't logged into a project yet. What TSD does when you log into a project is it will create the project assembly for the first time if it doesn't exist, and it will also create the project area, or WBS, for the first time if you haven't done it. So if we go into the projects area under project login, and under there, if we select the project we just created, you'll see the data that's come in. It helps us find the information that we need to be able to work with projects. And you'll see the default WBS is in there as well, and it looks like I've got some old crap that used to be in there before from me not cleaning out my database. Just let you know that that's there and it shouldn't be there. I've had projects in the past where I've cleaned them out, added them in, cleaned them out, added them in for demonstrations, and I just didn't clean the WBS table out properly. Okay, so in the process when I log in, you watch what happens. Okay, so it's now created two assemblies. If I go to my window, you can see the project level assembly, which is just the 4 digits for the project, and it's also created my WBS project, which is the AA, my WBS area. Okay, now I usually save it at this point, so Control Q, Control S for saving, and now I've got my two areas. Now if I'm going to be working isolated by myself, this is where it will be. However, if I'm going to work in a project area and I've got multiple people, what I want to do is drag this assembly up into the project level assembly, which means that I just simply grab the project area and drag it into the project. Okay, you can position all this at a later stage. At the moment I'm just showing you that that is a manual process for you if you're going to work in a multi-user environment. At the moment we're just going to go through a process of getting a project set up so that you can see what's actually happening, and we'll show you some of the multi-user environment at the end, and we'll go through some templates and show you how templates can be changed. So this is one area that I've created. Now if I want to create more areas, we go to the TSD projects and we go to the WBS manager. So in here you can see that there's already one in there that I don't want. If I select this one and go delete, it'll remove both. You don't want that. So if you do that, then it's gone. We need to find out what that area was before. Now that I've deleted it, you should match the exact same description that I had in there before. So to do that, this is where you need to go back into the database. So just be careful when you do that. It cleans out the two AAs that were there. Okay, I just want to make sure that you are aware that if that happens, you can lose it. And if you do, you can always go back to the project location here and edit the top 200, and the project area that we're after is this one here. So we just want to make sure that that matches again, just so that we're on the right path. And we just paste that in there. I've just copied it and pasted it, click add. So that puts it back in. So now I'm going to create my second area, and then I'll just go WBS area 2 and then go add. Now before I log into the second area, let's have a look at the filing. So by logging in, you can see the top level assembly has been created, and the folder for the area for AA has been created, and you can see we're actually in that one. Okay, now I can just simply go in and log into the next area. So now you'll see the new areas come up here, and then go log in. Okay, so that's created the second area, and then save that area. And now you'll see that there's another folder AB in there, and then there's another assembly that's been created which we've got open, which is AB. Okay, and we can drag that up into the top level assembly if need be. I'm not going to do that. I've already set one up for you, and I'll show you how all that works. Okay, now basically we've got ourselves a project set up. Now I'm just going to set some things up so that you can see how the information comes through down the track. So in area AA, I'm just going to put in a sketch point and a frame and put a column in, and then lock that column so that you can see how all this process works. So I go into my members and I go frames. I'm just going to grab a frame that I've created already in here and then insert it on that sketch point. Okay, there's my frame, and then I'm going to insert, before I do that, I just want to make sure that this is excluded from BOM, because you don't want your driving sketches coming in, and that's already excluded from BOM, so we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, you don't want those coming into your BOM. They're just a driving sketch. You're not going to use them for anything else other than that. And then we go to our columns, and I'm going to grab a column out of the library, and sometimes the screen can go a little skewy. If you just grab the sidebar and drag it out, and that'll refresh it. And I'm just going to pick that vertical sketch segment and insert my column on that. So when I insert a member, everything that's come through on that member now is copied from the library. So it means that everything that's in there is at template stage, right? There's a template phase and then there's a lock phase. The template phase is when you're concept modeling and you're putting everything together. When you go over into the lock phase, it means that you're going through the final stages of your project. You want to finalize it all and prepare it. Okay, we should have called it final phase, but anyway, lock phase is what it is, and that's what we've been using throughout all of our terminology. So the column 1 is there. Now, the information that you can see that came in with that column, when I go to open it up, there are drawings for everything. So there's a drawing there, and that template that's there has got nothing in it, no information whatsoever, and basically it's got no BOM. It's got a model that matches what that item is with the same drawing name, and as you can see, every single one of them has a template that has nothing in it. There's no data, there's no BOM. And that happens with everything, including the actual column weldment drawing itself, or the welded member drawing itself. So when I open that up, you can see at this stage. Okay, so basically what you're looking at right now is you're seeing template information that's missing because it hasn't been locked, and you're seeing really large numbers for descriptions of plates and for sections, and you don't want that. So when you go through setting up your project and you model your project, this is the template phase. When you go into the locking process, it will consolidate everything except for your members. It'll consolidate plates and sections. Okay, the reason it doesn't do members is because we use the members in our general arrangements, and we want to use that information by setting up notes and all that sort of stuff. We'll cover that in another educational process. Okay, so this column now pretty much is ready for us to lock. I've not done any work to it. I'm just going to lock it just to show you what happens with the project setup. So if I go lock member, and in this process of locking, I'm shifting the column into the lock phase. If I click the bolts that come with the column, so in this case I've selected the base plate connection rather than the cap plate connection, it means that the bolts come with the column. Okay, this is for reporting, and in there you'll notice that my flat bar naming convention is set up. When I set up my project, this would be normally unticked. It's a new function we've added into the current release. So now this is going through a process of locking. It's audited the model to make sure that our model matches the criteria that TSD requires, and it's going through a process now of consolidating plates. So in this instance there's only one plate of each, so nothing too difficult there, and you'll see that I've accidentally selected the wrong template there. I did that accidentally, but that's okay because we can come back and fix that later. So you can see it going through now. It's consolidating the plates, it's putting in bombs, and it's also putting in the data associated to each drawing sheet. So I'll open up each drawing sheet and we'll have a look and see what's actually going on here. Okay, so the bomb's been populated for that section, so that's been done. And you'll also notice the project information that's come in. The templates that we use, it looks like line 4 is not available in that particular template. You can go in and add line 4 if you need it. It's just a custom property field. You'll see the revision table in the drawing sheet, and you'll notice the information associated to the project has come through in the drawing sheet. If we have a look at the custom properties of the actual drawing sheet, you'll see that there are numerous custom properties in here that don't get used by TSD. You can do that with yours as well, no big deal. However, these 5 that you see here are crucial for TSD in the locking process. So what it's done, let's have a look. We'll show you what's done in the locking process. So now I open up the column itself. Now this drawing here is totally wrong. We can set up the templates and swap them out so that they are the right templates, and it's probably due to me selecting the wrong template by loading it in maybe, and you'll see it there. We'll just browse and grab another template that's out of the project. So I'm just going to go back to the project, and you can do this through the document manager. I'm just going to do one. Actually no, I'll leave it, and what I'll do is I'll update the template so that you can see how that works. You can see how all the bomb information's come through, and you'll notice now that all the sections and plates are nice and small in their file naming conventions. Locking does numerous things, and you can see in the plates that all the files and notations and everything match what's in the bomb. It's also updated the quantity, the mass in the note. This note is used on our weldment drawings only, and the information for the project has come through on the drawing sheet. Okay. That's the locking phase. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll this back so that it's unlocked, and we put it back into the template phase. So we just go unlock member and we unlock. So now this just shifts everything back to the unlock stage, which is our template stage for working. Okay. When you unlock, it copies all the locked component information and everything back to the template so that everything gets carried back, including the drawings. So if I open the drawing up, you'll notice that's been copied back, which is really good. Okay, so let's have a look at the templates and see what we can do to try and get those to work a little bit better than what we already have. If we go into the actual project location, okay, so let's check out the templates. And this is where we're getting an issue. Sorry, it's this weldment template. That's the one where we're getting an issue, where it's come in as an A1 rather than A3. Okay, so I'm just going to change that so that that is now going to be A3. And to do that, just to test it to make sure it's actually functioning okay, if we go File, New, and we just click any drawing, a blank drawing with nothing in it, and then we set up the sheet standard and browse, which you cannot do in this case. For some reason I've not got that, but anyway, there we go, browse, and we go to the project location where it's stored, computer, in here, and TSD projects, 5 templates, and if I just select the weldment template, okay, and bring that in, you'll see that that one's actually the GA. Okay, what I'm going to do is just change this so that it's not a GA anymore. So to do that, I'm just going to go Don't Save, File, New, and I'm going to grab the empty drawing again. Okay, and I'm going to change it so that I can get it from my standard set. It looks like this one's been overwritten because I'll just see what happens. I'll grab it from the template location on my PC, which is where Quadro Design set up, where the installation of TSD is, and we click Open and then click OK. So that's the right one. I accidentally must have selected the wrong template at the beginning. I can change the default location of where this template came from, or I can just simply override it for the project so that it doesn't happen again. So in this case, I'm going to change the drafting standard. Okay, TSD has its own drafting standard in the same location under drafting standard, and that will set up my drawing so that everything is associated with that drawing correctly. Now I'm just going to save this template, okay, over the top of, and you can use it here, save sheet format, over the top of my project templates. So I go back to my project, into where my projects are kept, 2014, projects, 5 templates, and I'm going to copy over the welded template. So now if I click save, I'm simply copying straight over the top of it. Okay, now the fields are already mapped in those drawings with TSD. I don't need to worry about the fields that are in there. Now what if I wanted to change that template so that I could set it up so that it was another template altogether? Okay, I'm just going to go through the process of locking this again, and then I'll unlock it. So we go lock member, click this, click the connection that I need, and you'll notice now that the actual drawing template is going to swap back to the A3 template rather than the A1 that was there before. It didn't swap it out. Did. It looks like it did at the sometimes it doesn't show you the actual true image in the background because it's flickering and going through lots of stuff, but it should have swapped out that template for us in the locking process. Okay, and do a rebuild here so you can see the section, and if we open the drawing up, it didn't do it. Don't know why. Really strange. That's what it should have done. There we go. Maybe because the template before was the A1 and it didn't change the sheet size. Anyway, that's now fixed. So if I was to rock that back, I'm just going to unlock the member. And that'll put it back to its template stage. And then what we'll do is we'll change a template, and I'll show you what actually happens with the change of a template. So if we go back into creating a new template, so go new and then drawing. Okay, so you've got pretty much, I'm going to leave it blank. Okay, and I'll show you if I actually put anything in there. So there's nothing on it, right? And now I'm going to go new template again. And now I'm going to select, and I've set these templates up in here so that I can use them straight out of the bat. Now all I did was just go to the file locations under options and link the locations of the templates that are in the Steel Detailer installation folder, and then it's allowed me to be able to select which ones I want. So there's a template there with TSD. So if I was going to create a new template, simply I would right mouse click, edit the sheet format, and I need that field, that text and those, and I need a revision information which is here as well. It's not sort of highlighting there because there's nothing in it. It might just pay for us just to go up into it, so I'll just exit out and I'll put some data in so that you can see what's going on here. You might want to go through the revision table as well. So main revision, we'll just put in something, and then in our revision information we might want to just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And there's only 6 revisions in the table. We've actually got 8. It's for people who just want to go crazy changing things. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And I'm doing this deliberately so that you can see that all these line up. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Okay, and then I click OK. And now I can go, okay, I want that information in there, so I've got to go back, right mouse click, back into the sheet. And I want to select that and that. And I'm going to copy it. So this is how you can set yourself up fairly quickly using your own sheet templates. So in there I've just pasted the text, and you'll notice that the information's not come through. So realistically, the first step, just so that you're aware of it, because there's no custom properties in that drawing template, you should go to the custom properties first. In this case, I want to grab those. Control C, so you're copying them. Click OK. Go back over to the other drawing sheet. Okay, and now go back into its custom properties, and then Control V, that'll paste them all in there with all the data, and then click OK. Now you'll see the information's come through on my drawing sheet. Okay, that's how that information comes through. Now you want the table. You want the table. I'll just select Drawing 4. Go back to that. Over to the left-hand side, we've got our revision table. So if you grab that, I've edited it, exited out. Actually, before you do that, you've got to grab all the custom properties. My bad. So Rev 1 through to the end of Rev 6. Click OK. Go back over to the drawing, and then go back into the custom properties, and we'll just add those so that they're all there. Okay, go back over to the other drawing, edit the sheet format, copy all that, Control C, and then paste it. Now, for some reason, I don't know why SolidWorks does this, but it does. Notice how everything's shifted. It's a pain. But anyway, the reason I numbered it is so that I can select them. And you can see that the order of the numbering is crucial as well. So I'm just going to select this information here, and holding my Control key down, select that, and then select that. And now this will allow me to position this where I want it. Okay, that's a good spot. Now that whole table you want to bring into your project. Okay, Control down, and watch what happens when you move all this. I've just taken a second copy of it, which is good. Sometimes you want to do that. So if you hold your Control key down, it'll allow you to copy everything. And this is basically setting up a new drawing sheet. Now, if I had title blocks set up so that I've got all my lines, my borders and everything, I would use that rather than a blank one, but I'm just showing you how you can bring this information into an already existing project template. So now I'm just going to save this. So the last one I'm done with, I needed out of this one. Don't need anything else. And I can copy the notes and that sort of stuff in there if I wanted to go crazy with this. But anyway, I'm just showing you that the actual template itself is going to get swapped out. Oh, sorry, you don't do that. Save sheet format. Now, we should have edited the sheet format when we put all this information in. So we're just going to Control X, edit sheet format, and then paste it all. And then select it all and move it again. And it didn't select it all. I'll do that again. Have another go. And you'll notice that through this process it's not allowing me to select it. I'm not hitting Control key or Shift or anything, so I'm just going to hit the Shift key. Shift key does nothing as well. So you can see how sometimes the things that you normally expect don't work the way you want them to. So I'm just grabbing that, and you can see how that's all turned to crap, and that was holding the Control key down. And now it's all a mess. Don't you love it? Where did it all go? Nowhere. So basically I've got to go back through this process again, and you'll see that sometimes things don't work the way you want them. Control X, come down here, click down the bottom, and that's nowhere near where I wanted it. I'm just going to delete it and put it back in again. Rather than me fiddling around with all this stuff, you can have a go and see how complicated this is, because it's crazy. It really is crazy how easy it should be, and this is just SolidWorks functionality. Anyway, I'm just going to bring that in. It looks like have I lost it? No, it's all over here now. And I'm saving my sheet format. So now I go over to my save sheet format, and I'm going to save it straight over the top of my weldment template, not in the Steel Detailer's installation folder. Just be careful of that. Depends on how your system's set up. And I'm going to save it over the top of my projects template. Okay. And that's done. So now I can close that off. My projects template has now been changed. Now if I go in and go members lock, it should swap out that template for my blank one. We'll see what happens. So this is the locking process. If it doesn't happen here, we can go into the document manager and it will do it there. There we go. So it's done it. So if I want to change my template, I can change my template and then go into, once you're in a lock phase, I can change my template so that it can go back, or if I need to change it after it's locked within the lock phase. You use the document manager. So under the document manager, lots of drawings here that have been added and removed from previous stuff, so you'll see there's lots of missing bits and pieces. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just remove all that crap out of there because I don't want it. So document manager, remove. Okay, so there's all my drawings that have come in that are locked. So in here I can pretty much select, after I've made changes to the template like I just did, I can then select that and then go down over to here where it says templates and then click update project sheet templates, and then it'll swap them all out again. Okay, and when you do change your template, you want to make sure you change all 4. If you're going to put a logo on your drawings, make sure you change all 4. And then you can use the update project sheet templates if you've got locked components. Okay, so you can see that I'm working in a single area by itself. Okay, and you can see I've got a driving sketch in here and my lock component is attached to that driving sketch. This is for a single user environment. Okay, I've already created a multi-user environment so that you can see how that one works. I think this is the one. And basically I'm just going to log into an area so that you can see that I've put a driving sketch in there. Okay, you can see some driving sketches get quite large, lots of stuff hanging off it. And in the area, I like putting things in driving sketch folders. And this is a multi-user environment. Now a multi-user environment is a bit different for someone that's working in a single user environment. So let's look at this and see how all this works. Okay. So you'll see that there's another part that we put in here. This is called a top level driving sketch. And when I open the project up and we go back to the project that's created for it, you'll notice that there's a top level driving sketch in here. And this is used for positioning your driving sketches to attach all your steel work to. We're going to cover this a bit more in the next educational webinar, but for now I'm just going to give you a little bit of a brief introduction into it so that you can see how it's done. Okay, the top level assembly is this one here, and you can see I've got 3 areas in here and I'm only using 2 in this case. So when I go to open up this project, you'll notice that I've got 2 assemblies inside it that are 2 different areas. Okay, and I've got 2 separate driving sketches for each, yet they both are situated with one driving sketch. And the way that we use this driving sketch is simply 2 sketches from an origin point, and each corner that we set up in the top right hand corner is where the assembly at its origin is placed, if that makes sense. If I go into the actual area, the origin point is there. Okay, if we turn on the driving sketch, you can see that the origin point is mated to the top level driving sketch for its position. And we've done the same thing with the other area, and you'll notice that its origin point is where the driving sketch is positioned. So basically what we're doing is we're setting up the internal driving sketch of this area at its origin point, but we're mating the top level driving sketch at its point. So basically the area assembly does not move within itself. It only moves at the top level area. Okay, so you can see how this works if we go into the top level driving sketch and change it just by simply double clicking on the sketch, and if we go say 15 meters, and you'll see that that one sketch has just changed in its position. So this is used to drive its position on top of one another. This stuff is used for really large assemblies, and when you're overlaying one area with another to create GAs for that area, we use this process. So just I thought I'd just cover this so that the next webinar you can see how this function works with projects at a top level. And this is a top level project, and the reason we have different areas is because area AB, you might have one person working on that area, and area BA, you might have one person working on that. They may end up being completely different areas, or they may end up being the same, which means that you can drop the same area in over the top of the other, but position it differently within the within this project area. And the top level driving sketch, you always want to set it up so that the person who's running the project, who looks after the interfaces, is the only one that can access that driving sketch. The other people in your project do not want to fiddle with this driving sketch. So this is all just model management and multi-user environment management. Okay, so that just covers how the project setups can be different, and using different driving sketches at different levels for different setups. You can also set this up. Now this is just using two structures, two areas, so you might end up having another area, say AC, AD, AE, and you may end up using different disciplines so that your driving sketch is attached to this driving sketch, and you'll have piping in there. So it's how you structure it for your project and what it is that you're actually using it for that needs to be determined right at the beginning. If you don't get it right at the beginning, you'll end up with problems with people trying to work over the top of each other. So really large projects, you might have a team of 30. The last thing you want are people working over the top of each other. Are you in this? Can you get out of it? Some of us have been there, and it can be quite painful. I've been there, and I've managed it, and I've been through the pain. So it's not much fun. You want to make sure it's set up right at the beginning. Okay, so that pretty much covers everything that's within the questions. I'll just make sure that I've covered everything, and we're done, I think. So let's just go through the questions. Okay, so the advantages of setting it up, we covered. The data that's required, we covered that. When you select the project creation, you've found where they're filed. You know what field mapping is now. You can see why we have to map the field so that the data can go in when we transfer from a template phase into a locking phase. Can you create your own TSD templates? Absolutely. We know what the terminology is. Can I change my templates after I've set them up in the project creation process? Absolutely. And the obviously two setups, one for working alone and one for working in a project setup. So hopefully I've covered a whole heap of stuff here for you guys to think about. This is all being recorded, so if you want to watch it again, I'll send you a link and you can see how it's done. I'm going to unmute you and answer some questions. Okay, guys? So unmute all. So anybody got any questions at this stage? No. Hopefully you guys have been covered, and everything that you're seeing here is kosher to setting up projects, and we've covered everything for setting up projects.
Michael,
Yes, who's this?
Michael, I got one question.
Pradeep.
Is Pradeep?
How you going?
Yeah, I got one question. Yeah, good, thanks. I got one question. In the area, you have only two letters for that one, or whatever it may be, BA, BC, or CC, but only two letters.
Yep, that's all we use.
Okay.
Our file naming convention
You,
is set up so that you, when it comes to DST, VC, and C, there's a limit to the number of letters you can use for your marking.
number. Okay. It can be number also, or just letters.
It can be numbers, but you're restricted then. So then you've
Number.
got 99 numbers, 0 to 9 and 0 to
Oh, yeah,
9.
that's right.
Yeah, whereas if you use letters, 26 by 26.
26. Okay. Yeah.
So on really large projects, it's best to use numbers.
numbers. Okay. No, thanks.
No problem. Thanks for your question.
No worries.
Anybody else got some questions? Mohammed, I don't think you've got your phone on or mic on. If you've got any questions, please whack it into the chat area. Richard, I think you're the same. If you've got any questions, please, by all means, send them to support at the Steel Detailer. We'll certainly answer them for you. If you're a customer, you can go to the knowledge base. You'll certainly see it in there. And everyone that has attended this webinar will get a copy of it so that they can watch it later and get their answers if they've got any other questions need be. So that pretty much concludes this webinar. I'd like to thank you for your time and thank you for being an educated person on TSD and also a customer of TSD. Our aim is to improve your experience and make sure that you obviously succeed in the usage of it. So I think we'll conclude it. Thank you very much for your time, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. I'll send out another invitation. We get a fair few people on here. We've had to knock a few people back today in the process, so we'll just make sure that everyone that missed out can possibly get on. If they've missed out, they get a copy of the video. Our TSD customers do come first, but in this case we've got resellers as well, so it's been good to have you on board. Alright guys, we'll take care of yourself, have a great week, and we'll see you next Tuesday if you sign up for the next one. And we're going to cover driving sketches and how driving sketches are created for both single projects and for multi-user environments. Alright, we'll catch you later guys.